have you ever thought about writing? And he said, what would I write? And they said, what everybody tells them, write what you know.
I think actually, I was just rereading my interview with Will. I think it's what he said when I asked him that similar question was write what you know. But that almost seems too facile an answer.
Well, actually, in this really excellent interview with Danny Fingeroth in this magazine, which has Danny Fingeroth. Anyway, I was just rereading.
Too bad it was canceled, that magazine. Oh.
And I thought the parallel that Will drew between Dropsy Avenue and Yoknepada County of Faulkner is that Dropsy Avenue, he didn't name the streets. It's not Fordham Road. It's not any of those streets. It's
because I'd asked him. I said, I understand why you would change the names of people, but why change the names of streets?
Yeah, and he gave a beautiful answer to that. He said, so it could be universal, just as Faulkner made his county universal. Will, in a sense, made his Jewish experience in the Bronx kind of universal by giving it these names.
Well, Haydu in that article in a piece he wrote in the New York Review of Books, which I was reading this morning, which is why I remember it, said that Will had told him that Pfeiffer had thought all the characters in The Spirit were Jewish, and Haydu said, that's funny, I thought they were all Hungarian. Because he's Hungarian. So I think Will made it universal enough that whoever was reading it thought it was about their background.
They weren't a bunch of mix?
They were. They were. Will told me. It's in the interview. Anybody have any other questions or thoughts about Eisner? Yes.
I was just curious. Did Mr. Eisner ever get a chance to branch out into the internet, and if he ever did any work with web comics or anything like that?
He mentioned them in the last revision that he oversaw of comics and sequential art. He mentioned the internet, and he was interested in and favorable toward them, but he never really did anything himself on the internet.
Well, but he did do the Spirit screensaver with Byron Price, which was a very kind of early. It was a screensaver. You had 20 different Spirit shots of the Spirit.
Yeah.
And I think he and Scott McCloud had an ongoing dialogue about electronic comics.
He did. He didn't actually do it himself, but Will loved anything anybody did that was new in comics and would encourage them to the last degree to go ahead and do whatever they were doing.
Peter?
But what do you think about the different merchandising that's all tied in with many comics? Like, after you have the initial comic comes out, then you have the toys, then you have the derivatives of the toys, and then different lines and variants. What do you think he would have thought of that?
Good question.
Ken, didn't you just say that Will sold toys?
At what age was he when he was selling the toys and going around the world? What period in the story was that?
That was right after World War II. 2 or 3 years after that, I guess.
So concurrent with the Spirit.
I beg your
So
pardon?
concurrent with the Spirit.
Yes.
Well,
Who here has seen the Spirit movies, by the way? Do you think it succeeded, didn't succeed?
It was interesting. I mean, I was cosplaying him at Comic-Con, so... But it was interesting. It was like trying to watch like a graphic novel put onto screen, but the problem is that's a lot for people to take in, a graphic novel on the screen. As he has a graphic novel, I think it would have actually done much better. You see how, well, like the way they did 300 made that, took that as the graphic novel and then put that on screen. If this was done as a graphic novel, would have probably been a lot more, people would have been much more appreciative of it.
I mean, there are 12 years of Spirit so...
Well, yeah, but you see what I'm saying.
Story
well,
yeah.
What you're saying is specific.
The way it was shot and done, it was more like you're watching a graphic novel on the screen, but one of his graphic novels.
I thought it was sort of like a bad off-Broadway play, sort of a misinterpretation, a misfire that just really didn't sustain itself.
How'd you really feel about it? Don't mince words.
I was disturbed by the rip-off of the classic Spirit costume. I don't know why Miller's Spirit needs to wear, like, black upon black upon black with a red tie. It really felt like it took the essence of the spirit, slammed it against the wall like 15 times, and then looked at it and threw it on the screen. It was really one of those things. Is part of I feel that Eisner's nod towards their heroes basically is just like he's just a dude in a mask because of some reason. I can't remember what it is right now. I'm ranting.
But the same thing you wanted a superhero.
Right. Yeah. This was like fine. You must wear that mask thing. And
A mask hero.
it was not. It was nice. It made the character more accessible. It's like the spirit feels more energetic in like the blue suit with the white shirt. He seems more real. And when he's just black on black, it's like it feels wrong. I don't know.
It's like Dark Knight Spirit.
Yeah. Yeah.
The dark spirit, yeah.
May I ask, is there any comic book has been made available on Kindle or Sony or any of the ebooks?
Good question. That's a good
Oh.
question.
And if so, has anybody read it?
Well, I don't know about Kindle.
You mean a good Eisner comic? Or good comic?
Any comic.
Well, I don't know about the Kindle as of yet, but they actually do have different apps for the iPhone, so you can read it. You also can get them for Windows Mobile, and also a couple other things. They're generally the CBR and CBZ format, which generally that even though they're not official, you could pretty much also use them as a PDF too. It's just how the comic is done as a reader. But there are apps. IDW Publishing is doing a lot with that.
The Andrews McNeil Syndicate has something called, is it them? Has Go Comics, which you could download all sorts of things onto your iPhone or cell phone.
Yeah.
What do they scan across the page?
What's the reading experience like?
It varies, but a lot of the new phones now have much bigger screens, so now you can see a whole page at once as opposed to little bits of panels.
Well, even on a Kindle, which is a bigger screen.
Yeah.
It's only black and white. It's only a shades of grayscale. You need something that's actually more of a tablet or something.
Well, a year from now it'll be color, they say.
Well, the iPhone has it.
Yeah.
Marvel or DC officially doing anything with those?
I don't know specifically. I mean, Marvel has their own website where you can subscribe and get comics online.
But you're just reading the comic on the screen. It's not. Yeah, it's a working.
Well, they have a reader, I believe, part of it.
Yeah.
A special reader. I don't know what it does.
Yeah, see, the thing is with that is pretty much anybody can, once they actually get the file format, they'll just convert it into a way so that they can read it as they want, using the programs they want, share it across. I've seen that where they would scan comics and other manga. They just scan it, it's a JPEG, and then they just put it into the, they could just read off that, or you can convert CBR and CBZ and do it like that, without even having like any custom specific reader, just stuff you can download for free.
Ken, did you understand that answer? Because I didn't.
Well, it's interesting. One
I
of
think
the
it's
big,
interesting. Ken is the guy on the panel who's interested in.
one of the big controversies in ebooks at the moment is the new Kindle has a talking capacity.
Yes.
And so I can read the book to you. It seems to me that would be ideal for comic books, looking at the picture and hearing the text.
Yeah.
They actually
You have to figure out what he-
They actually did comment on that actually for the new Watchmen semi-animated comic. People know what that one is?
Yeah, the motion comic.
Yeah, the motion comic, where that was actually a very interesting experience, except for the fact they should have had two narrators as opposed to one they had one male voice doing all the characters, and they should have had a male and a female voice.
If anyone missed the great animation in the early Marvel superhero cartoons, it's back.
Yeah.
I think the thing with a comic, an electronic comic, and I mean, this is the Stone Age in the mid-'90s when I was working for Byron Price on this thing called Virtual Comics, was the idea, of course, what is an electronic comic? Is it just a scan going across a page, or is it some little hybrid with animation, or does it have a voice reading it? I mean, it sort of makes it, when you do anything to it, it almost makes it into a cartoon, as opposed to it being that sort of magic that people who like comics tend to like, of putting the words and pictures together. It's something different.
And as Scott McCloud's book points out, a lot of the reason that we get hooked on this particular form is the experience of of holding it and filling in the blanks and imagining the voices.
I thought it was the heroin they put on the pages when they printed.
Well, there was that for the
Okay.
non-code comics.
Non-code comics.